Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and today is watering day. For today's video, I thought why not go through my whole watering day routine with you guys. That way you can see how I water my plants and kind of answer any questions that you might have, because as I go through every plant, I'm going to be sharing a few tips from my experience with them. So first of all, my watering day lands on Friday. I like to water the majority of my plants right before the weekend. Since I have quite a bit of plants, it can take some time, but honestly, I personally love it. I see watering days as some form of self-care because I just like to play my favorite music or play a show that I'm recently watching or a YouTube video or something like that. And it's basically a fun, entertaining hour and a half for me. But yeah, for watering days, I don't just focus on the watering. I also like to do a little bit of extra things, like if I have to trim any dead leaves or if I need to wipe down any plants. For example, my monstera, I wiped it down probably like 2 weeks ago. I wiped the leaves on all of my plants. Well, majority of the plants, not all of them, but the big like leaves of plants probably every other week, just because honestly it takes a long time. But if you can do it every single week, then that's awesome. So just a quick reminder, you need to remember that every plant is different. Not every single plant is going to need watering every single week. Some need it maybe twice a week, especially with the heat we've been having, and some plants probably just need it like every other week. But I think that covers everything, so let's go ahead and get started on watering day. Okay, so I like to start in the kitchen. No real reason, just where I like to start. So I would suggest starting at one base of the house or your apartment and work your way around. All right, so before we get started, I want to share with you guys what I like to use on my watering days. And first, that is a watering can, which I have filled up with tap water that I let sitting overnight for more sensitive plants like my calatheas, and specifically for my maranta. And the reason why I let tap water sit overnight for those plants is because the leaves are super sensitive to tap water. So you'll start seeing browning on the tips. And I used to be so good and always get distilled water for my maranta, and unfortunately I just stopped buying distilled water because I stopped going to the grocery store all the time. So I just found that filling up my watering can with tap water and letting it sit overnight is just as good. Okay, second thing is a mister or sprayer. This one I got off of Amazon, and this watering can I got from IKEA, by the way. But yeah, this mister I got from Amazon. I'll have everything linked down below for you guys. But yeah, this one I love because the spray is so fine. It's like the perfect mist, and it doesn't leave like big droplets of water on your leaves, which also isn't a good thing. So definitely get yourself a good sprayer like this. And lastly is a moisture meter, and you guys probably already know this is my moisture meter. I personally like using a moisture meter because it's a lot easier than having to stick my finger in the soil and guessing whether or not the plant needs watering. So yeah, this is definitely super helpful. And in the back I have some plants listed where you can see what level they need to be at when they need watering. So we can obviously refer to this, or you might already know, okay, a fiddle leaf fig needs to be completely dried out, so you'll just wait for it to get to the red. A monstera doesn't like to be completely dried out, so you'll be checking more like a 4 to 5 level when it's almost close to being dried out but not super moist either. So this is super helpful. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Like I mentioned, I like starting in the kitchen. All right, so first of all, I love that I have this huge sink in my kitchen, and it's the room that gets the most lighting. So it's the perfect place to put all of my plants, let them sit and soak up the sun for a bit. So this philodendron is actually new. I just got it in the mail yesterday, and I watered it because obviously it was being shipped and it needed some little TLC. So that guy's good. I don't need to water him. And we're gonna go ahead and use the moisture meter on this guy. Not so much on my cactus and succulents because I haven't watered them since probably over a week. So definitely all of them are gonna need watering today. Okay, so we're gonna get started on the Hoya first. So if you check on the back of the moisture meter, I have listed Hoya likes to be on a green zone of 4 to 5, which means that it does not like to be completely dried out, and it also does not like to be super moist. So as you can see, since I have it right here, right next to the window, it's getting a lot of sun. So it's already past the 4 to 5, so that means it needs watering. And then I also like to have a paper towel at hand to wipe off the dirt from the moisture meter. And typically I would have them directly in the terracotta pot, but I decided to leave it in here in case I want to change the pot or something. So I like to make sure that when I water it, the water is hitting all the way to the top, like the rim of the pot. And then I slowly like to watch it just drip, make sure that it has good drainage. Obviously it does. Now I'm just gonna let him sit here. So for my aloe plant, it likes to be completely dried out, and it's good. It's completely dried out, so it needs to be watered. And remember, for your cacti and succulents, you don't need that much water. I like to wait for the water to start coming down the drainage hole, and then I know that the water is going through. Okay, then lastly over here I have my lipstick plant. This one likes to have moist soil, so I'm gonna go ahead and check on it. I'm pretty sure it's past the level that it needed to be, just because it gets a lot of sun over here, but I also like to keep it a little bit more tucked in so it doesn't get like that super direct light like all of my cacti. So yeah, this guy is drying out. He needs to get watered ASAP. And after a while, you'll know which plants seem to dry out a lot faster. For example, this guy, I'm gonna start checking him in the middle of the week because I let him dry out. But obviously when we water them properly, they will thrive a lot more. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you're getting a thorough watering. So we have all of our plants that are soaking up some sun. So now I'm gonna start from the beginning to the end. I'm just gonna start putting them back to their place because I know that the water has been going through the drainage holes, so they're good to go. And then that way I can make some room for the next plants. Okay, so next we're gonna water my maranta, which I have hanging up here. And on Instagram, I've been asked quite a few times how I water my hanging plants. And it's super simple. I literally take them out of the macrame plant hanger or whatever and bring them to the sink and water them like normal. I don't like to water them while they're hanging, just because even though they're in a drip tray, I want to make sure that they're getting a thorough watering. I want to see the water come through, and when it's in a drip tray, it can overflow, and that would just make a mess. And it's better to just take a couple of extra minutes to properly take it out of the macrame plant hanger or whatever plant hanger you have, and just do a thorough watering. Okay, so here's my maranta. As you can see, it has some blooms at the moment. Super cute. And I just checked the back and it's gonna need repotting soon. You can see the roots are starting to come out already. So this guy needs to be repotted very soon. So side note, don't forget to check the drainage holes because then you'll see when your plants need to be repotted. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look. I have some dry leaves over here. I'm gonna go ahead and snip them just to make sure that she stays happy. And we don't want the plant to focus on any like dead leaves or anything like that. We want it to focus on new growth. So just gonna get rid of that. It has some more growth coming too. And the blooms are always really nice to see. But look how pretty the blooms are. They're like a really cute purple. So my maranta likes to be moist and it likes a good misting. So we're gonna check. I already know it needs watering because it gets good light, and she's a maranta. She's thirsty. She's a thirsty girl. She is at a 6 level, and according to my moisture meter, I have her placed right here under prayer plant. Likes to be at a 6 or 7 level. So that's perfect. She's ready to be watered. And remember that I'm using overnight tap water just to prevent any browning on the tips. All right, so now for this one, because I don't like to have it directly into this deep sink, because I don't want to harm like the leaves or anything. So I just have this little dish here, and I'm going to place it on top and let it sit. And I'm gonna go ahead and mist her. And it's also important to use tap water when misting. It's the same ordeal with them. So this is just overnight. It doesn't have that much. So for my other plants, I'm just going to replace the water. But for this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and mist, and just look at how fine the water is. So it's not gonna be like huge droplets of water. And I like to not necessarily point up all the time, but just not that close. So it's like not getting like a huge bath or anything. It's just getting like a nice amount of mist, and it'll be perfect for it. That's gonna stay here for a bit as I gather some other plants. All right, so next I have a snake plant over here. Just gonna check it really quick. Snake plants like to be completely dried out. So as you can see, it's not completely dried out yet, so my snake plant does not need watering. Okay, so lastly, in my kitchen, I have 2 pothos, one right there and one right here. And I honestly neglect these guys because they're all the way on the top of my shelves, and because they're pothos, they can take some neglect, so I just go ahead and go with it. So I like to wait for them to basically tell me that they are thirsty. And this is how you can tell. The leaves start to curl. If I wasn't so mean, I would have watered them a couple of days ago, but they actually just started curling yesterday, so I knew I was going to water them today to show you guys, or else I would have watered them right away. So I like to just wait. But for reference, you can just use your moisture meter and wait for them to almost dry out. You don't want them to completely dry out, or else you'll get this. I'm just gonna go ahead and use not this watering can, but just a regular cup, and use my little stepping stool right here, and just get up there and water them. I'm not gonna take them out because these guys will be fine. This one's in a terracotta pot, so I know that it's gonna be fine when I water it up there. It has a drip tray. This one is in its nursery pot, but it has a large drip tray. So I'm just gonna water those like that because they're just pothos, they can handle anything. And I've been watering it like that every time. They're perfectly fine. The water comes down to the drip tray and it just drinks it back up. So it's good, it's good. So we're gonna go ahead and water those guys. Alright, so I just used basically like this much water because I saw that it was the perfect amount. The drip tray was starting to fill up, so I just stopped it and just gonna go ahead and bottom feed the rest of that water. So gonna do the exact same thing to the next one. Alright, cool. So all of my plants in my kitchen are watered. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put my Maranta back so I can make some space for the other plants. Alright, all good. And there is a drip tray up there in case there's any excess water. It's just gonna land on the drip tray, but it's been sitting there for quite a bit, so it should be good. Okay, next we have my little office working nook, and in here you get super great sunlight, so I have a bunch of plants, and we're just gonna go ahead and start checking in on all of them with the moisture meter. So first we have my Rhaphidophora, which I can see really needs to be wiped clean because it's getting a little dusty. So this guy, I know that it likes the first couple of inches of soil to dry out, so he's good. He's gonna need watering. And my Calathea, which is just like a prayer plant, they're in like the same family. This one wants to have moist soil, just like my Maranta. So I'm gonna check on it. And it's at a 4 to 5. It should be like at a 6, 7. So this one definitely needs watering because it's getting close to being dried out. Okay. Next is my monstera adansani or adansani. I do not know how you pronounce it. But this guy also does not like to be completely dried out, but more close to drying out than a Calathea would. We're gonna go ahead and see on the moisture meter, it should be like at a 4 to 5, and it's already past the 4, so definitely needs watering. And all of these guys are also going to get a good misting. And when you don't see that much soil on the meter, then you know like it's pretty dry. And also I just go ahead and stick it into the next plant. If it has a lot of soil, then I like to wipe it off because you never know if one of your plants has an issue, then you're just transferring it to another plant, so that's not good. So now is my alocasia poly. This guy also likes moist soil, so he's getting super thirsty. I have to be checking on him more often. And then my money tree also does not like to be completely dried out. It would like more of like a 4 level. And he's still pretty moist. I watered him a couple of days ago, so that makes sense. He's gonna be fine for a little bit longer. Then over here we have my Pagoda black lipstick plant, which I know is gonna need watering because this one loves moist soil. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst. Note to self, Emily, be watering it twice a week. It gets a lot of sun here, but honestly it's different because a couple of times I was ready to water it and it didn't need watering, but it's just because we had that heat wave that I think it got super dry really fast. And then right here I have my big Monstera Deliciosa, and we have a new leaf coming there. We just had this one is new too. So we're gonna go ahead and check this guy now. And this guy likes to be at like a level 4 to 5. So as you can see, he still has a little bit to go. So if you just check like the first couple of inches, you can see that he's starting to dry out, but as you put it in closer, it's still a little bit moist, but it's fine. You obviously want to just check the first couple of inches. Once he's at a level 4 to 5, for me, that's when I water it. So I'm gonna give it another day or two, honestly. I think he will probably need a watering tomorrow or on Sunday, which is perfectly fine. So I'll keep a lookout for this guy. All right, and then lastly, in my little office nook, I have this peperomia. And my peperomia, I like to almost completely dry out. So he's good. He's at a level like 2, so I'm definitely gonna water this one. And also don't forget that you need watering too. So as you're watering your plants, water yourself, hydrate yourself. All right, let's gather all the plants. You don't want my story, you just need a name, and it goes one time. So one question I've been asked before is how much water should you use to water your plant? And the answer is simple. If your drainage is good, then it doesn't matter how much water you use. Okay, so for my calathea and my alocasia, they are also very sensitive to tap water. So what I want to do is use the remainder of this water that I have for my Maranta and use it on these guys. Okay, so I ran out of the overnight tap water, but this guy is the most sensitive, so I wanted to make sure that he definitely got that water. This guy, I'm just gonna go ahead and give him regular tap water. And for these plants that really like moist soil, make sure that you are distributing it pretty well. So now as these guys are enjoying the sun, I'm going to go ahead and mist them. Okay, so all of the plants in my nook and kitchen are done. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the living room, and then the bedroom, and then the bathroom. So let's get to it. Okay, then from the kitchen we can move on to the living room, and we have here, the first guy is this little aloe plant. So just by looking at him, you'll know that if I haven't watered him in a week, he's gonna need it because he's in such a tiny little pot. And we're just gonna go ahead and water this guy anyways, don't need to check it. Okay, then from here we're moving on. I have a cactus here. I got him about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and when I potted him, I gave him a really thorough watering. So honestly, I'm just gonna let him be, and eventually I will water him again. And then right here we have another peperomia. So as you can see, it's at the 6th level. I'm just gonna give it a couple of more days to see it hit between the 4 to 5. So this guy's good. And then we have my fiddle fig, which we all know needs to be completely dried out. And yeah, I need to get a pot for this guy. I just can't decide on one. Okay. So this guy needs to be dried out. And remember that you want to move the moisture meter around, especially on plants like a fiddle leaf fig, that you know need to be completely dried out, because it could be that it was watered uneven and maybe on one side it's showing very dry and then on the other it's showing it's still moist. So you want to make sure that it's all completely dried out. So this guy, okay, pretty dry, good. All right, good. So he's at a 3. I personally like to wait for it to get more towards the end of it. So this guy's gonna need a couple more days. And if you're afraid that it needs water, I'm telling you that I almost killed this guy, and he's been doing super well just because I've been waiting for it to completely dry out. Okay, next we have right here a calathea, which we know likes moist soil. So we're gonna go ahead and be careful not to like puncture any leaves or anything like that. So always check where you're gonna place your moisture meter, but it does not damage your roots or anything. Like, don't like jam it in there or something. All right, so this guy, yeah, so he definitely needs watering. He's already getting lower than he should. He should be at around like a 6, 7 or something. So this guy's gonna need watering. And then last, we just have another large cactus over here. And these guys, I'm not gonna water. I got them the same time as the other one. I actually got it from somebody in the neighborhood. They were giving out cuttings for free, so score. And for this plant, I'm also going to eventually want to be using either distilled water or the overnight tap water, because I don't want it to start developing the brown tips. And this one's also gonna get a bit misty. Okay, and now before putting any plants back, I'm going to go ahead and wipe down my alocasia and this calathea just a little bit. The rest of the plants are fine, but what I like to use is just a microfiber towel. So I misted them, but I'm gonna go ahead and mist them again just so that the water can sit on the top, and I'm just gonna basically use this to wipe it off. And remember that you don't want to keep a bunch of dust on your plants. It's not good for them. It basically blocks the sunlight and it makes it harder for them to photosynthesize. So that's just a tip there, but you guys probably already knew that. And then this guy. So I'm just gonna hit like most of the top leaves, because on the bottom, they're not gonna be as dusty because these top leaves are basically like blocking the bottom ones of getting a lot of dust. And I personally like to clean off the leaves because they just make your plant look so much nicer, so much greener. All right, now all of the plants in here in the main living area are all good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them away, and then we're gonna move on to the bedroom and bathroom. So let's get to it.
You don't want my story, you just need a name. And it goes 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4. Make the same mistake, I'm bored. Running circles round our heads. Laughing hurts, so we play dead. 5 times, oh.
All right, I had to take a quick little break to hydrate, but got my water, and now we're gonna go through all the plants in the bedroom and then the bathroom. And for the plants that I have to water in this side of the apartment, I just water in the bathroom. So either the bathtub, or if they're very small, then just the sink. So we're gonna go ahead and go through them all right now. Let's do it. All right, so first we have on my dresser, we have a Scindapsus, which is kind of like a pothos. I just treat it like a pothos. It doesn't want to be completely dried out, but almost there. So it's perfect. It's at a 3 on the meter scale. So that means that it's very close to drying out. It's already starting to dry out. So this guy's gonna get watered. And then we'll move on to my rubber tree. And on the back of my moisture meter packaging, I have rubber plant. It needs to be at a 4 to 5. So we're gonna go ahead and check. And he is dried out. I'm the worst. So this guy's gonna get watered, but remember, it's always better to underwater than to overwater. And it's okay to underwater a little bit, but if you really want to see them thrive, then you need to be like checking on them like constantly. And most of the times I'm good at that, okay? I'm good at it, but sometimes you just forget to check on your plants in the middle of the damn week, you know? So we're moving on. These guys are in pretty small pots. I already know that they need to be watered. And how do I know that? They get good lighting from this window. They're in smaller pots, so they dry out a lot quicker. But either way, I'm just gonna go ahead and check. And yeah, this guy is at the level that it should be. This is a satin pothos, so it doesn't want to be completely dried out. So he was at like a 4, so he's perfect. We're gonna go ahead and water him. And then this is another pothos. This is a jade pothos, and we're gonna go ahead and water him too because he's at like a 4 to 5. And then these guys are just being propagated. So what I like to do is I like to check to make sure that it still has water. So always make sure that you're checking on your propagated plants as well. You're gonna wanna make sure that there's constantly water in there. So those are good to go. And now we're gonna move on to this side. Okay, now on this side of the room, I have another monstera deliciosa. I have a string of hearts over here, which I'm not going to water because I already watered him a couple of days ago, and that one likes to be dried out. And then this one is another calathea. So this guy definitely needs water. It likes to have moist soil, and since it's in a little pot, it dries out very, very quickly, especially with this sun that it gets. That one's gonna definitely need watering. And now we're gonna go ahead and check the monstera. Okay, this guy, it's still pretty wet, and you can tell from the soil that it is pretty wet. And basically from this one is because the soil that I used for repotting it doesn't have the greatest aeration, but it's doing perfectly great. My monstera has gotten so many new leaves. You can see vines already coming out from the sides that I'm basically training to go back into the same pot. And it doesn't need to be repotted or anything. I just kind of need to add, I think I'm just going to add some more soil on the top just so that the roots can reach it better. But yeah, this guy is doing perfectly fine. And now it's my rubber tree time. He's been getting a lot of great growth. You can see on this right hand side, he's been growing a lot. So I've been making sure to rotate it so that it can start growing evenly. I'm gonna need to dust him off as well, just like I did with my other plants. So yeah, this guy is doing really well. I just put the moisture meter in, and I'm not putting it all the way in, but I can see that it needs to be watered, because remember, these guys do not like to be completely dried out. So we're gonna go ahead and water this one, and we're gonna wipe off its leaves. So I accidentally dropped this, but this is a little gnat trap that I keep on, I have one on my fiddle fig, and then this guy, and then one on my monstera. And that's just to check to see which plants are the ones that are getting like gnats and stuff. So if you know that a specific plant has gnats, I suggest getting like traps like this. It's just so much easier. I tried doing the whole vinegar with soap thing and it doesn't work that great. This is perfect. So highly suggest getting some of those, or anything that works for you guys. There's a bunch of stuff out there. And my rubber plants too, I noticed that they need watering every single week. So this guy really likes a lot of water, so I basically gave it a full watering can, and it's perfectly fine because the water is coming directly out of the drainage holes and everything's good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mist all of these and wipe this guy's leaves. So I'm just gonna let those chill there for a little bit. I'm gonna put the smaller ones away. I'm just gonna leave my large rubber tree in here just to make sure that all the water is coming out of the drainage holes. There's no rush, so I can basically leave him there as long as I want. And then we can go ahead and move on to the rest of the plants that I have here in the bathroom. Oh wait, I forgot about my calathea. One sec. Can't forget this little guy. All right, he's good. Now let's go ahead and put those away and we'll get back to the bathroom ones. All right, you guys, we are almost done with watering day. We just have the bathroom left and I don't have that many plants in here. So these pothos up here, I am propagating. So they're just sitting in water, which is great for this type of plant hanger, or when your ceilings are so much higher than a typical apartment. Like mine, they're pretty high, so I don't want to be taking them out all the time, especially for the ones in the bathroom, because it's really hard to get up here compared to like my other one. But yeah, these guys are fine. And then right here on my sink, I have a succulent that I have not watered in I think weeks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give him a quick little bit of water. All right, let it sit there. So that's good. And then next we have over here, we have an umbrella tree plant which likes moist soil. So this guy basically gets watered every single week. And you could also tell he's like super light and he is facing the windows. And he gets a great amount of indirect sunlight. So his schedule is pretty simple. It's just make sure that it doesn't dry out or get close to drying out. So for my umbrella plants, I'm probably gonna check on it again in a couple of days in the middle of the week. And lastly, we have in my shower this huge pothos, which again needs watering basically every single week. And it's perfect right here in the shower because I just water him directly in here and there's no mess. So let's go ahead and water him. All right. So this guy is in a self-watering pot, but I take it off to make sure that the water comes down completely. It doesn't even need this, but I just like to have it. I don't know. All right, so the water is coming directly out of the drainage holes and not making a mess. So we're good. And last plant that I have is the snake plant down here. So we're just gonna go ahead and check that one. And remember, these guys like to be dried out and he's still pretty moist. So he's fine. And that is basically it. We are officially done with watering day today. All right, you guys, that is it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for watering day today. I hope I covered a couple of questions that you had, but if you have more, feel free to leave them down in the comments and I will try my best to get back to you. Also, if you guys are interested in any of the items that I used today, like the watering can or the water mister, I'll have everything linked down below. And also don't forget that my moisture meter is available on my website and on Amazon. Again, I'll have everything linked down below. Thank you guys again for hanging out with me today. And if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please don't forget to give it a like and go ahead and share with your other plant friends. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload a video every single week. If you guys aren't following me on Instagram, my handle is @ClassyCasita, where I share a bunch of more inspo every single day. I'm on there in case you guys are not tired of hearing my voice. But thank you guys again, and I really appreciate you guys sticking around, and I will see you next time.